Good morning, sir.
Yes, good to see you. Nice to have you aboard. And good morning, Maureen. You can unmute yourself for a while.
Morning. Thanks for doing this.
Hi, Maureen. Welcome.
Hi, Laura. So nice to see you.
You.
Okay. So who said thanks for doing this again? Maureen. Okay. So listen, why doesn't everybody check in while we're here and just say, tell everybody one thing that you're thankful for. I'll start off. I'm thankful for being alive today.
I'm thankful for this chance to practice together. I like this group very much.
I was going to say the same thing. I'm thankful for the community.
I'm thankful I have so many friends in my life who just sent me birthday wishes. It makes you realize how many really good people you have in your life.
Amen.
Birthday.
I'm thankful to be here practicing with all of you today.
Gabriel, welcome.
Shanti.
Everybody just checked in with something they're thankful for. Can you share something with us?
I am thankful to be almost alone in my house right now.
Ditto that. And I'm thankful that I have a third floor in my house that I'm moving my son up to.
Hi, Beth.
Hi, Muriel.
Now, Laura, do I have the ability to admit people, or people just, they're checking in on your Zoom? You're the one who's admitting people, right?
Well, and I'm not really admitting, everybody's just flowing in right now.
Flowing. All right.
Welcome.
We're flowing. Isn't it interesting how flowing is really a nice word? There was even a book written about that, in term peak experience and human potential. But if you said impermanence, ooh, that somehow that had the fleeting quality of that word seems worse than saying flowing, which is kind of like the same thing in a certain way. I just sent out one of my audio affirmations on being a student of change. And although we know the platitudes of like nothing lasts forever, this too shall pass, and stuff like that, still sometimes it's hard to flow with that. Okay, welcome our new person. Ooh.
Holly, welcome.
Oh, Conehead. Hi, and Sarah, welcome to you.
Hi, Sarah.
Hi, thank you.
Glad you're all here. So clue them in. We just had people check in with us and say something that they're thankful for. So if you just heard that, can you just check in and let everybody know something you're thankful for, please? Anybody can start. Go ahead. The people who just checked in.
Well, I'm grateful for this time to be able to practice. I'm a yoga teacher who needs yoga instruction myself, so I'm so grateful for this series.
I'm grateful to be in Michigan.
I'm grateful to see you.
I'm grateful to see all of you, and I'm grateful for my health.
All right, it's officially 11 o'clock, so we're giving a 5-minute lag time for people to come and catch up, and then we'll begin. Get right down to business, as they say. All right. So in the meantime, cross your hands so that your left wrist is in front of your right wrist, and have your palms facing the side walls. Then hook your pinky fingers together and touch your middle finger and your ring finger to the pad of your thumb, and then stretch the index finger straight up in the air. Okay, this is called Rupa, R-U-P-A, Rupa Mudra. It means form. And it's a way of embodying in a gesture and sealing it into your physical self, both the gross, subtle, and the subtlest level you can of a certain energetic evocation of your particular form of deity, or however you want to look at what a centering device is, and how does whatever position or gesture you make foster different kinds of circumstances, and you see how is it reflected in your face, in your breathing. You know, are you, and it's also like a meditative posture. So always, as you feel the back of your body grounding down, the front of your chest lifting up and spreading, just sense the alertness that brings. And then close your eyes for a moment, and especially let the eyelid skin that's close to the bridge of the nose release away from the nose towards the outer corner of the eyes and temples and sink backwards. And just feel the centering, that a shift in body posture, hand gesture, and awareness of what your authentic breath is. Don't tamper with it. Don't refine it in any way. Just observe it. Right. So while you're holding this, Molly, let me clue you in. Cross your hands at the wrists with the left wrist in front and the right wrist behind. Hook your pinky fingers together. Then touch your thumb to your middle and ring finger pads and stretch the index fingers up parallel to each other. Yeah, that's called Rupa Mudra. Beautiful hand position, isn't it? Yeah, but most important, it's one of the few things I can do while I still have rheumatoid arthritis. So like, I'm very, very thrilled. It's supposed to be a semi-joke, but it's also true. You know, got to do what you can. I mean, this, you can say I bent finger, I can't do it. All right. You can continue to hold that if you want to, or that's called filler material, right? Filler material. I'll wait for the bad jokes till 11:05.
Please.
Don't want to leave those people out, but if they missed it, sorry, we have to honor you for being punctual. Punctuality. Because even though we're all in lockdown, we have so many places we have to go. So we just, you know, for my Italian friends, appunto, you know, we got to just do it right on time there. Okay. So, yoga. So much to do. Waiting. Okay. There we go, 11:05. Welcome to everybody. I didn't pull up the thing. You'll have to wait a few minutes. Glad that you're here. I want to thank Muriel for being the impetus behind this all that got me connected to your community, of which this is a continuation of. And again, welcome back. I'm glad that you're here, and I'm glad you have the emptiness, however temporary it is, to feed yourself on. And Laura, thank you so much for helping to set this up and bring it together. And all the people in the background, if I'm not naming you, forgive me, but I know other people like chipped in with the suggestions and emails and technical savvy. So thank you very, very much for all of that. Now, these two guys are sitting outside of the cathedral in Mexico City, collecting alms, begging, you could say, if you want to put a pejorative thing on this, you know. And one guy happens to have a cross on top of his begging bowl, but the other guy has a Star of David. And all day long, this being a major Catholic country, everybody passes by the guy with the Star of David and puts the coins in the guy's who has the cross in front. The bishop of the cathedral is watching this go down all day, but he's restraining himself because there's a lot of traffic passing in and out. And says, no need for me to interfere. But by the end of the day, he really got steamed up about this. So he goes over to the guy with the Star of David who has nothing in his bowl. The other guy's stuff is like overflowing. He says, excuse me, what is wrong with you? Don't you realize this is a Catholic country? How could you come here putting a Star of David out and think that people are going to give you money? And the guy looks at the other guy and says, hey, Moshe, look who's teaching the Greenberg brothers how to market. So for those of you who don't know, my early career was spent in the Borscht Belt of New York City, in the mountains of New York State, learning from some of the vaudeville and the Broadway stars. And now it's like TED Talks. Always start off with a joke, relax the crowd. Anyway, so the entertainment has begun, which of course means we're going to get into my rhetoric. And as you know, rhetoric means I want to persuade you of something. And of course, emotions will have to be moved for that to happen. So one of the best ways to move emotion is with poetry, because poets say it good. And early in my yoga career, I was very, very fortunate to be turned on to the Sufi tradition, which is like a mystic wing within Islam, although Orthodox people might say Sufis have no part of us. Sufis may say we're never connected to any tradition, no matter how it might have looked historically, or coincidentally with how sometimes it becomes a vehicle for the teaching of what seems to be a religious fundamentalism. But then when you extend it into allegory or homily or mysticism, it has other reaches, which sometimes it's hard to justify the historical basis for it, but it's appealing to something else. So I was turned on to Rumi way before Coleman Barks made him popular in the United States back in 1970, so 50 years ago. Every instant the revelation from heaven comes to men's inner souls. How long like dregs do you remain upon earth? Come up. Whoever is heavy of soul in the end proves to be dregs. Only then does she mount to the top of the vat where her dregs are clarified. Do not stir the clay every moment so that your water may become clear, so that your dregs may be illumined, so that your pains may be cured. It is spiritual, like a torch, only its smoke is greater than its light. When its smoke passes beyond bounds, it no longer displays radiance in the house. If you diminish the smoke, you will enjoy the light of the torch. But this abode and that will become illumined by your light. Both this abode and that will become illumined by your light. If you look into muddy water, you see neither the moon nor the sky. Sun and moon both disappear when darkness possesses the air. A northern breeze is blowing, through which the air becomes clarified. It is for the sake of this burnishing that at dawn, the zephyr breathes. The spiritual breeze burnishes the breast of all sorrow. Let the breath be stopped but for a moment, and annihilation will come upon the spirit. The soul, a stranger in the world, is yearning for the city of placelessness. Why, oh why, does the bestial spirit continue long to graze? Pure, godly soul, how long will you journey on? You are the king's falcon. Fly back toward the emperor's whistle. So, as you know, that's a story. The Sufis are not the only one who tell that story. The story about the bird that belongs in another aviary, and how do we get caged? And some longing to get out of the incarnation, which in some way you could say is the essence of what yoga is trying to teach you. To retrace your steps back through the false identification that creates a sense of separateness between ourselves, and I guess you could call it the living spirit. But it's some sense of merger, that word union, right, which is supposed to mean the path you take to get there and the experience of it, has supposedly a universality, an ecumenical quality. Oneness is a weird word because it's not just a homogeneous smudge. There's always diversity within the unity and universality in every individuality. So that's what I'm liking to guide me. That's Life of Pi. That's the better story that I tell. And I'm going to try to convince you of the yoga version of the story. And for those of you who are new to my teaching, when I do these things, I'm purposely avoiding political commentary, social activism, and career counseling. I'm totally here as a learning module. This is our our internet pod. This is the way we're modeling for the kids. This is how you make it real and precious, and continue to do both a combo of isolating yourself and connecting. And at least in our state, in our neighborhood, there's a little bit more phase 3 into phase 4, slowly taking risks of being further out, waiting to see what's going to happen. I understand. I have all the feelings, but I'm not going there in this moment. Anybody wants to contact me for a one-on-one? Sure, I'll pong it back. But for this particular presentation, this is one of my professors. I have a lot of people who are mentors of mine. And so, of course, for those of you who've taken what I had to say and have shared it, remember, I say steal often and steal from the best. So this is what I've learned from a professor from Toronto University, Jordan Peterson. Even though I may have changed some of his ideas out of psychotherapy and mythology to fit the yogic model, but that is the artist's privileges to reinvent and bring new things together and present it in an innovative form. All right, so for me, yoga is the best future option. There isn't something that you could name that wouldn't be covered by yoga in terms of giving a response, a clear decision of how to achieve this, because it's so diverse, because the teachings of life itself are the teaching of yoga. So awareness is always appropriate. But it's also based on the philosophy of individual responsibility. Which when we're thinking, more heroic, I want to change it for everybody, and we'll get there. But that begins with the person themselves who has to be changed and effective, right? If you have no firepower, then you can't bring any clout to what it is you want in terms of your vision. And so there's reclamation work to be done in yoga. It's called purification. And a reductionistic model that I'm using of just saying, hey, if the individual gets themselves together, the whole world will be rectified. It's for rhetorical purposes. It's just try to take something, it's a huge, vast system that unfolds over time in a process and give it to you in a kind of thumbnail, instant snapshot, because that's the kind of mindset that we have now. But the truth is you got to be involved in this for life to have depth upon depth revealed if you choose to put in the time. So without translating into Eastern philosophy or Hinduism or any psychology, for me, yoga is how you conceptualize the highest good a human being can conceive of and then live it. Okay. So unless and until you can find something better to do with your time, or unless you can tell me something that you think is better than that, in which case I'm pretty opportunistic, right? If I found something that was a better dance than the one I'm doing, hey, I'm ready to explore a new dimension. But so far, nothing can hold a candle to this because it encompasses both everything I already know and everything I don't know and could know. It's pretty open and spacious. And that's one of the questions I've always wrestled with. Can there be a final truth in an evolving cosmos? So to grapple with this, yoga doesn't avoid suffering. Its whole thing is it's a salvation doctrine in a certain way to teach you how to avoid samsara, the wheel, incarnation after incarnation, and beating ourselves up and up again and again, because from their point of view, a certain kind of desire to want anything. To want the heaven world is the same as wanting material goods, no difference. It's the wanting factor, the craving, and the holding on that apparently is what makes grasping like that not freedom, but a certain kind of bondage. So their mindset, of course, is to end the whole game. Like when I say the big mirror, the empty mirror in the back. not the small mirror, just getting some insight into your personality and like your inner psychological self. No. Transcending all of that. You know, if you go into yoga, you know, one of my latest critiques that I think is really important to remember, and this is not a slap in the face, it's just a sobering re-understanding of, do you really know what you're doing? Okay. Because living for dharmic values, or really what is yogic values, and living for human values are two very, very different things. And although the Dharma and the way we understand, the way the teaching comes to us, does help tremendously in the field of human values, giving great significance to it through ethics and personal responsibility, it's not really what the dharmic value is. It intersects with it, but the dharmic value is about this word they call freedom, moksha, liberation, jivan mukti, even while alive, a high, high bar of a kind of seemingly dissociation with all the other values at the human level, because when they talk about liberation, they're not just talking about the things that, oh, my muscles are looser now, I'm freer to move, right? Or my mind is clearer now, I'm freer to think better. Or my emotions are more open now, I'm freer to allow both my vulnerability and joy. No. That's that small mirror I'm talking about. And so most of us don't spend the time to go into retreat. And not just once, but every now and then, periodically. A weekend away is not going to do it. A month away doesn't even do it. 3 months, but who goes away for 3 months? Well, how many people, you know, a few Vipassana meditators do that. But most people, we don't. It's not the way the Dharma in America is unfolding. So it's really, like I said, yoga is the relationship is the yoga of the West. So how do we find a way to really make that the place where, number one, selfless service, karma yoga comes through to all the people around us, whether it's our family, people who we work with, our neighbors, however we interact with other people, it's a general principle. And then through that, we are studying ourselves. Just like when you do the asana practice, you make a movement, but then you're feeding back, you're scanning. What does my body say about this? If I turn it this, how does it feel? My neck feel this way. Am I breathing? Where, and so forth. Yes, but that's happening during your daily life. You're observing and reflecting on how you're acting. So you're doing your jnana yoga at the same time by seeing your resistance to opening to different situations or the difficulties you have with people's personalities who don't match, you know, your way of thinking and so forth. And then the bhakti part is definitely, obviously some of those relationships are going to be one where like your heart is positively engaged, right? It's yummy. So you're opening to it. It's something that you want to take in and nourish yourself, as well as the fact that you have gifts that the other person elicits. There's a chemistry. So somehow there's a celebratory quality there, which means your heart is open so it can flow. And all those other qualities that we think about relative to an open-hearted person, like humor and kindness and patience and whatever it is. And so those are wholesome states that you can cultivate. So in a certain way, if this is what you're all about in practicing what you call yoga, another way I like to say it is when people, trying to understand the depth of yoga is trying to understand what's the meaning of life for me, or what is truth, or who am I? Doesn't matter. They're all the same. The modern search for identity is the same as the search for truth of the ancients, as far as I'm concerned. And, you know, I have a lot of academic resources to back this up if you think that that's just a wild statement. But people know when they say, what's the meaning of life? What that really means, they want to know what is the positive meaning of life, because they already know what the negative meaning of life is. So unless you're providing yourself with the positive understanding, which is from the yoga point of view, if you can stop reinforcing your own separateness and see the consciousness as it comes through you, but not identify with its contents, although you have a role to play here, this is what's so paradoxical about this, you will experience a release from the prison of self, right? I love Nisargadatta Maharaj says, enlightenment is from the self, not for the self. So you get rid of that idea of somebody who's moving ahead in time to get realization. That's the one that fundamentally can't. And you just see the consciousness, you see through your eyes. Anyway, the first thing you understand, this is how you become a dropout, don't have to take LSD to become a dropout, is you understand that we live inside a damaged structure, not only just at a societal level, but human nature itself has certain kind of damages in terms of how reality comes through us and how we treat each other. And especially there are historical times where you come face to face with aspects of your own cultural institutions that are both corrupt and dead. And yet it still has its momentum, of course, but something is finished in it and you can't align with it. This is an archetypal situation. The land is the wasteland. The rising of the forces of darkness, whether they're Mordor or Kali Yuga, it doesn't matter. It's always there to be looked at. There's always a funeral pyre burning somewhere at an archetypal level. So it should come no surprise to anybody who's looking at this with any kind of depth that that's bubbling on the back burner, simmering on the back burner. And at any moment it can erupt into your life, as it is right now, all over the world for other people. Young people always will rebel against it, as well they should. Hopefully you did in your time. And then it moves on to a different way of channeling your rebellion or damping yourself down. But you don't take it personally. You understand, oh, I'm in this archetypal battle with the forces of darkness inside myself first, not projecting it on other people. And then how does that filter into the world through the actions? Because if I've changed, a part of the world has changed. And not that my goal is to change every single person I meet, but I don't do it consciously. If I'm vibrating like a flower, sending out its own scent, it doesn't have a mind to do that. You just evolve to a certain level where you have a better vibe than you had before. And you work hard at trying to be the best one you got. So we align ourselves with the young, but again, the young sometimes don't have a vision of where to put their energy, their idealism. I don't know, did anybody recognize you as you were coming of age? I didn't. I was still trying to score points in school, get other people to recognize me according to the symbols they put out there that told me this is where status and prestige lie. And if you don't do it now, you'll suffer in the future. I hated that. In the Jewish perspective, it's called Tikkun Olam, the healing and reparation of the broken heart of the world. Right? It's an impossible task. It's like being a bodhisattva. I choose to hold off my final enlightenment until every sentient being is free. Really? Okay. I think it's a metaphor, isn't it? Of feeling compassion in your heart, right? My grief man cries every day. How do you stay in touch with that energy and not feel crippled? Well, it's the phoenix rising from the ashes. It's another archetypal aspect. When there's death and destruction, whatever, you can understand there's birth and creation and reconstruction. And the dissolution of things always precedes the reconstitution of it. It's an alchemical principle. Anyhow, I can tell you, we're not even getting to the PowerPoint presentation. We'll have to save it for the end of September. So at some point, we're all going to have to sally forth from the walled city and create. The Zoom interface is a bridge, utilizing more of the time that we used to spend maybe out there and being with other people in close proximity to, we are still out there, although you can say lockdown is out there. Yeah, we have this medium. You could be on another planet. We're still connecting to each other. And then how do we make transition and still continue to use this medium in new ways that will force us to not just think of it as a glorified simultaneous telephone conversation, but other ways that could spread to how each one of us is a potential genius in a field of knowledge. And also through networking with each other, link up so that the unique characteristics that you have in whatever field your intelligence really is in your wheelhouse, right? If you found somebody else who has the skills that you don't have, that's where the jamming starts happening. And the possibilities of how many things can sprout as a result of that. Of course, now that we're not limited to doing that within the supposed spiritual sphere, but anything we do that helps each other, that furthers each other's growth, that helps create more social capital and a sense of trust and reaching out between us. If that's not spiritual, you got to give me another definition of how we're supposed to embody the visions that each one of us have, that maybe we're sometimes too afraid, right? Remember, if you don't have any personal power, you don't think you have any clout, so you don't want to step into any big boots and hold a lot of space for stuff. But part of the encouragement we're supposed to give each other is that's such a bullshit thing to tell yourself and believe. So you got to get support, even if it means asking for it. But mostly it's learning how to give yourself support after having taken technique that shows you how to be one with non-duality. So what does it mean to engage in heroic behavior? Because that's what it all means. We got to get out there and do our thing. How do we make it as good as possible? Well, wherever you are, you have to try to make it better than, what it is by just your energy and your vibe. That's you trying to make it better for everyone. Everyone you meet, you're just trying to make sure that you don't close their heart or confuse their head. Again, if you don't want to come across creepy, right? You don't want to be yucky. You don't want to be yucky. You want to be yummy, right? And then I really believe, and this is like my whole affirmation theory, and I invite you all to just cherry pick all the affirmations. You never know what 3 or 4 hypnotic words or sentence, 1 or 2, will empower you to see something that your inner self recognizes immediately as a kind of steroid charge for your self-esteem. Just by phrasing it that way, it kind of rings like a light bulb goes on. Oh my, yes, of course. Why am I not reaffirming this about how I am? Things I already know and possess about myself. And like anything else, you train yourself. Whatever you practice at, you get good at. So the world, and one of the other things I used to say, remember, we all have the amygdala, ancient part of our brain anatomy that scans for things that could do you in. Right? It's like a robot Terminator, and it's only scanning for anything that its intention is to protect, right? It's programmed to protect at all costs. Doesn't understand anything except who could be a potential enemy, and it never lets its guard down because it's a robot. It doesn't need to sleep. It doesn't need to eat. It doesn't have emotions. Right? But what it does is it also has another part of itself, not the amygdala, which looks for and scans for the positive things, your intentions, your sankalpas, what we call the prime directives, if you want to use the scientific name. And just as the same way as your first robot was scanning for what was harmful to you, the prime directive part of another robot circuitry in you is only looking for what can fulfill its aim, your goal, what is it you want from the situation. So it helps aim you at the highest, and it teaches you how to be good at inhabiting that place. So it becomes like an internal GPS. You set the course for where you want to go, and it calculates immediately where you are and what you need to do to get from where you are to where you need to go, and then makes course correction along the way. Unbelievable if you buy into that, because this is just another story, right? There's obviously a lot of people who, they hear this and they don't what they call have a demonstration. A demonstration is when you use these principles in order to supposedly get what you want or get more of what you think you want, and it doesn't work. So that sours the whole idea that I guess I'm not as in control causally of putting the seed thought out and having the experience be my fruit. So there's other work that has to be done, other reclamation work in your ego if they're disconnected to the power of your own subconscious mind, reminding you of what's potential is, your inner treasure house. So before we go on to the asana, I just want to remember you, ethics always. Remember you're a loaded weapon. Regard yourself as capable of really hurting people with what you say. But more important than not only putting it out on other people, because if you have more self-love, you'll have love for other people as well. Stop saying words that make you sound weaker than you really are. I'll say that again, just like Steve Harvey. Stop saying words that make you sound weaker than you really are. That is himsa against yourself, and it's asatya. It's not true. You're just not championing the other aspects of yourself. Only say words that are in alignment with the best that you have within you. So don't be smart. Smart and intelligence are two different things. Take care of yourself as if you have value, because you do. Take care and act as if whatever you do makes a difference, because it does. All right? That's it from Professor Peterson. And now it's on to asana practice. Laura has done such a magnificent job at practicing this. We're going to be wowed by this. All right, so in the future, we'll have better communication about what props, if any, I suggest that you have. But I want to get it clear. I realize not everybody has props. And so if we're demonstrating with minimal prop usage and you can't figure out on the fly what to do to stay in the flow of what we're doing, immediately unmute yourself and say, I'm not getting this. I don't have a belt or a blanket or whatever, and I'll make another suggestion. But if I don't hear you pipe up, squeaky wheel gets greased, I'll assuming that you found a way to, do it the best you can without the prop, or modify it in some way where you don't need to call attention to it. But if you do, don't hesitate. I have a lot of other stuff I could come up with on the fly if I see your room. Now, let's go over this once again. Are you going to pin Laura so she becomes the big model for everybody to see?
I don't know. Let's see.
So you don't need to see me. And I can pin anybody at any time. So if I see any kind of suspicious activity out there, I'm going to call your name. That's right. Get ready to get called on. What?
Is that working?
No. You're shaking your head no.
Am I in the big screen or the little one?
Laura, you're only in the big screen when you're talking. If real talk comes back on.
Everyone has to pin it.
Yeah, we have to each do it on our ends.
Everyone needs to pin Laura. That way she'll be on the big screen.
Great.
And how do you pin that? How do you do that, Gail?
Go over her box. And I'm sorry to take over. Do you want to say there? And then there are 3 little red dots that show up on the right. And you'll see pin video.
So should we do that now?
Yes. That, and then she'll be full screen.
Thanks, Gail. So grateful for this help. Rock, thank you so much.
I'm now going to mute myself and go away.
All right. So the first thing I want you to do is lie down on the floor on your mat. Hopefully you have a mat. So your feet and your head are in line with the short end of the mat, or what we would call spine-wise. And widen your feet so your heels are facing the corners of the mat. But don't activate your legs in any way. Just widen them. And in fact, don't make any anatomical adjustments for the first few minutes. Don't refine anything. Just observe. Have your hands up at your side, palms facing up, knuckles down. Now, for this class and every class I teach, I refer to Tadasana as the standing posture from which the whole system takes its anatomical cues. But when we're standing, we can't feel anything contacting the back of the body. So any kind of fissure, any kind of dent, any kind of rotation, any kind of discrepancy, any kind of asymmetry is not nearly as noticeable. And not just because it's much easier to recognize what's in the front and the outside of your body than it is to recognize what's on the back and the inside of your body, because one you can see, one you can't. But now with the floor providing a background, a backdrop to lean against, before you make any adjustments, do your own body scan, whether it's passing from the skull to the shoulder, to the elbow, to the wrist. I'm going quickly, you're going slowly, and just notice, is that limb or part of your body, is it absolutely on the center line, which is called Brahma Sutra, the thread of Brahma, the creator right there, where vector force equilibrium is completely the same? Or is it tilted one side compared to the other? One shoulder higher, one shoulder lower. Don't adjust yet. One shoulder blade flat, one shoulder blade poking into the ground. One side of the chest rotated high, one side of the chest rotated low. Abdominal area soft on one side, tight on the other side. Buttock flesh pinned toward the tailbone or moved away from the tailbone. Base of the pelvis narrow or wide. Outer thigh to outer top knee. Rolled more to the floor or less to the floor. From the outer top calf to the outer ankle. From the inner knee to the inner ankle. Which is longer, which is shorter? Which is closer to the floor, which is further away? The foot. Which pinky toe is closer to the floor, which pinky toe is further away from the floor, and so forth. Now, this is where you're just flopping, so to speak, not making any adjustment. Now, bring your legs together on the midline. That means touch the whole inner seam of the leg and flip the toes back towards you. Flex the foot towards your face and extend the heel beyond the ankle. And now squeeze the legs together. Hip sockets first, outer knee to inner knee, outer ankle to inner ankle. Now, without losing the action of your legs, put your hands by your hips, palms facing in toward each other. Your fingers are facing your feet. Your arms are at full extension toward your hips, palms facing into the body. Straighten the elbows. Good. Roll the shoulders up, back, and down, pulling the whole back toward the buttock and lengthening the buttock away from the waistline toward the base of the pelvis. Active arms stretching away from the shoulders so the neck grows long. Now, compared to where you were flopping before, you can say your body's really active. But tell me honestly now, if you scan your body, are they really acting the same? Just as I'm sure you realize when you were flopping, they weren't the same. Your job is to see where is one restricted and one moving free. Where is one closer to the midline and one further away from the midline? Where is your mind easily getting access? I can feel that part. Where am I blocked from feeling? Because wherever there's feeling, which means there's sensation there, that's where intelligence is. No feeling, no sensation, no intelligence there. So part of the game is using this particular position just to sharpen your intelligence, to be able to feed back to yourself the differences of one side compared to the other. All right? So break your reverie now. Just take an inhale and an exhale, and then bend your legs at the knees, feet flat to the floor. Take another inhale, exhale, roll to the side, take a breath when you're there, and then gently come on up and watch the demonstration. All right, so we're going to begin with a variation of Supta Badakanasana. So watch how Laura starts in Dandasana, legs out ahead of her. She lifts the buttock flesh and really rolls those thighs in and use both hands on each thigh and roll the top of the thigh, the middle of the thigh, the bottom of the thigh, and all the way down the calf, whole leg turning in, and then do both sides, activate. And then hands by your hips.
Laura, is it possible for you to tilt your camera down so we can see your legs?
Sure. Better? Is
Yes, thank you.
Okay, good. Thank you very much, Miriam. All right, so do your Dandasana. Use your hands to get the lift in the chest, just to stabilize. Shoulders back and down, good. All right, and now scooch closer to the wall, exhale, bend your knees, and set yourself up for Supta Badakanasana. Use your arms to help break your fall, exhale as you go. And we'll give you a couple of variations. Once you're down, you want to bring the shins closer to you. You want to breathe a little bit and just get used to what's the pull going on in my body now? How do I feel it? Because it's always different every single time you practice. And then once you settle in, you're going to use your hands on your thighs. And you're going to roll your thigh away from the shin toward the floor, an external rotation. You're going to gently press the thigh away from the hip toward the knee and then down. So it's a rotation, an extension outward, and a downward press. And you compare now the feeling that you have there. Now, if it's too much on your groin, you can back off on the rotation, or you can put blocks or something underneath your thighs. That'll take pressure off of the groin. And then after a minute or two, if you have this prop at home, watch her. She's going to insert a block underneath her pelvis. The block goes flat. That means the short ends of the block face the sides of the mat, and you get it right up by the top of your pelvis. And that's going to give another stretch. Those who studied with me know that I'm really big on what I call groinal effervescence. You got to open up the first and second chakras to get that kundalini flowing. And then once you got that set, you bring your hands back to your side and you puff your chest. And now you work towards symmetry. Now you use what you've learned in the previous poses, and I'll go over that. All right, so everybody get into that place. Start without the block underneath you, just to warm up a bit. Right? And draw your legs closer in. There's a lot of other variations where you can do this using a belt, putting your feet higher up on a block or even up on a chair, changing the angle of how the thigh bone comes in the hip socket. A lot of very innovative things. But right now, always remember that all of the classical poses were done without props, even though props were there early on. So once you're there, breathe a bit. Yoga is so much more powerful when you breathe. And now use your hands on your thighs. Roll your thigh skin. Get in the middle of the thigh, or even closer to the knee. Roll your thigh skin away from the shin, toward yourself, outer thigh, good. Then lengthen it out of the hip socket toward the knee continuously. Make it a continuous stretch and hold it. Don't just hold it. Let the muscle get elasticity. And then also slightly press it down. That means the inner knee moves toward the floor, toward the outer knee. Now feel what that's like. Now I suggested that you use 3 different hand grips. You can do that action on the top third of your thigh, on the middle third of your thigh, and the lower third of your thigh closer to your knee. And notice how each one makes you feel. At another time, I also might use belts wrapped around the thigh to give external rotation like your hands are, but it just grips more skin. And then your hand position could be like in a different fulcrum position. It's really nice. Now, get the block, if you have it, and inhale, exhale, lift your hips up and put the block underneath you flat. No higher than the waistline sacrum. All right, L5, S1, and puff your chest. Right, how do you puff your chest? Either roll the shoulders under and lift the shoulder blades up, or bend the arms at the elbows slightly, press the elbows down, and then you'll feel the rebounding action. Now keep that and free your chin. So I always say this is a good way of practicing Setu Bandha and Viparita Karani, and also Jalandhara Bandha for pranayama technique. So don't forget those poses. Also, really great for the higher you move your pelvis, letting the blood collect in the cardiac area. All right, so remember that Badakanasana has so many fantastic benefits, and not only just for female anatomy, but it stimulates the whole central nervous system. It tenses the spinal cord in the right way. The anterior body, it's a partial back bend. The anterior body starts getting stretched. And that relaxes the vagus nerve. If you know your anatomy, that's one of the cranial nerves that comes down the center of your body and controls so many of the autonomic functions. So this is the way yogis say indirectly they build health and strength in the immune system and the hormonal system, because this nerve deals with blinking, breathing, swallowing, vocal cords, heart rate, lungs functioning, all the abdominal organs to the belly button, all the way down into organs of evacuation. So it changes the whole electrical potential of your nerves. And again, it doesn't challenge the cardiovascular system. So there's really a sense of peace and yet energy. Perfect way to both remove some fatigue from your body and also kind of generate those alpha waves, state of relaxed alertness, passive alertness. Really, really nice. All right, now, if we had more time, it was an hour and a half or a 2-hour class, I would just turn the blocks up on their side edge, second height or third height, and stay there for a couple of minutes. But to give you a rounded practice, even though there's nothing wrong in staying with one pose and doing fewer poses and holding longer, as my teacher used to say, when I was younger, I used to play. Now that I'm older, I stay. So exhale, bring your knees together, flatten your feet to the floor, take a breath when you're there. Then inhale, exhale, bridge your hips up. Come down slowly from your neck toward your shoulder blade to your kidney, kidney to your waistline. Stop right there. Take a breath when you're down. Scoop your buttock away from your waist. Very good. Then inhale, exhale, extend your legs out. If you have a wall that you're able to press your feet into, get it. If not, do the best you can in extending your legs straight ahead. And even though in the classic pose of Supta Pada Angustasana 1, where you're reclining on the floor and you grab your big foot and you stretch your leg up, right? Mr. Iyengar in Light of Yoga doesn't show it with him pushing against the wall, but you'll really see if you have something to resist against, it makes so much of a difference. So again, look up and watch Laura if you're not clear about the instructions, but otherwise you can get right to it. Hold the mat with the sides of your hands so your thumbs are on top and the fingers on the bottom. Pull the mat down away from your neck so you reestablish that length, the back body moving down, the front body moving up. I'm always reminding you of the pranayama details. Descend the back, ascend the front. Every single pose, learn that. Now, keeping your left arm working, keeping your left leg working. What do I mean by that? Pressing your left leg down and slightly turning your left leg in. Join the legs on the midline like you did in Tadasana before. Now, bend the right knee into your chest and wait there. Inhale. Those who already reached their hands, like Simon says, you're out, you're out, you're out, you're out. All right, now go behind your knee with both hands and pull the leg closer to you. Get it right up in the notch behind the knee joint. Not on the top, Molly, not on the shin, behind the knee. Molly, do you have it behind your knee? I can't see. It's your camera. That's it, thank you. Sorry, my fault, I just couldn't see visually, thank you. Now, in addition to keeping the front of your thigh as close to your chest as possible, that's one action. Activate your right foot toes hard, like you did in Dandasana. And then from the heel through the calf to the knee, pull the shin bone closer to you just from the lower leg. Make the knee come closer just from the lower leg, not your hands. All right, now keep breathing. The game is not to stretch your legs straight. The game is not to let your thigh come away from your chest as you attempt to stretch your legs straight. So exhale and slowly start to stretch your leg. Find the point at which, watching your own leg, all of a sudden, your thigh wants to go away from your chest to make it easier for you. When you notice where that place is, bend your knee a little bit more and re-extend the thigh to your chest. Hold it there for a second. Reactivate your leg, and with minimal loss, stretch the knee straighter. Do that 3 or 4 times at your own pace. Bend the knee when you see your thighs coming up. Pull it deeper, closer. Be more intense. Be more adamant about not letting the thigh go away from you. Then after you've done it 3 or 4 times, hold it with your left hand. Reach your right hand up and grab the toe or the foot, whatever. If you can't grab the foot, don't use a belt today. Grab the back of the outer shin or the middle shin or whatever. And then using both hands, straighten the leg any amount you can, even if it comes away from your chest a little bit. But keep resisting. Come on. Look toward the leg. Look toward the leg. Pull the leg into its socket. Don't just pull it back. Pull it down. Now, What's your left leg doing? Press it down. Turn it in to the right. And if you have a wall, push it against the wall. Notice how different the stretch is when you push it against the wall. Notice what happens. Don't push it against the wall. Connect those 2 points together. All right, take an inhale, soften your face. Exhale, relax, let go. Bring the leg back to the wall. Use your breath. Hold the mat, pull it down, readjust the shoulders. Bring the legs together on the midline. Do your Tadasana. Quickly scan. Is there a discrepancy on one side compared to the other? You just did something asymmetrically different. So how does it feel different? Notice how this is going to feel after the second one. Keep your right leg working, pressing down, turning in and into the wall, and don't let it loose. Keep shuttling your attention back to it because this is the grounding part of the pose. All right. Right hand stays. Left leg bend into your chest with an inhale. Then both hands hold behind. Get it close to the knee. Press it in. Start breathing. If one side of your abdominal area is more compressed, use the other side of your abdominal area to breathe. Notice how close it is to your chest. Same amount or different than the last time. Just observe. Now, hardening the foot and pulling the heel, calf, and whole shin muscle toward the knee. Just use your lower leg. Bend it deeper. Now, hold that. Now start playing the game. Exhale and take the leg up, but minimize the amount of front thigh moving away from you. Do it 2 or 3 times till you understand your frontier. You see where you can't go. And hold it and breathe there. Don't be so quick to just want to straighten the leg. The alignment is better. Now, start pulling the thigh bone into the hip socket right away and maintain that as you stretch the leg. Maintain that as you stretch the leg. Now, keep the right hand holding it. Left hand reach up, grab the foot. Straighten out a little bit more. Did your attention lose the leg that was extending? Reconnect to it. Keeping the thigh close to you. Remember, the shin moves toward you, the thigh moves away from you, but you still keep it close to you. That's the paradox. All right. Take a breath, inhale, exhale. Slowly come out. Stay there, both feet into the floor, into the wall. All right, bend the legs at the knees, take a breath when you're there. Inhale, exhale, roll to the side, take a breath when you're there. And then inhale, exhale, come on up. All right, we're gonna put Laura through her paces for about 3 minutes because she said that she wants everybody to see her sweat.
Okay.
Fine with me. So Laura's first gonna stand in Urdhva, so stay with us. She's going to stand up in Tadasana, facing the camera. And if you can't see her hands, she'll tilt the camera, or she can kneel. It'll be the same thing. All right, because there you go. She just has more room, right? So here it is. First, grip your legs together. Stand with the feet on the midline. If you're a new student, standing wider has a better balance because the base is not so narrow, but you have to stand with the feet together classically and understand what it is. Now, remember what we did. I don't want you to use the wall, but you got to remember, what did you learn from lying down on the floor? Which part of the back body needs to be adjusted? You don't even have to say anything. Just do what you think you understood. Now, she's squeezing her outer thighs in, right? Squeezing her outer thighs in, pressing her inner thighs back, moving the back of her sacrum, waistline, back and down. Then she's gripping her hands to the sides of her thighs, and as if she was going to brush her hands behind her, but she's not going to really move them behind. She's going to start the action to do that. And again, you're going to see her front chest moves out and up, the back chest moves down. Do you have room to drop your head, dear? Yes, okay, good. So now she's going to, no, come back. Just want to make sure you had the space there. Now she's going to turn her palms away from each other. Inhale, spin her arms all the way up into Urdhva Hastasana. And then getting the fingers right over the shoulders. She's going to wait, keep the shoulders pulled down. And now she's going to drop her head in preparation for doing all of that in Warrior One. Go ahead, drop your head all the way back. Now, the more you stretch your arms up, but your shoulders down, so you have to demarcate where the upper arm and the shoulder socket our joints. They have to be stretched down. Shoulder socket down, humerus up. And then that creates room and lifting the sternum, front up. Otherwise, your head will hardly go back and you won't get the benefit. All right, so then she'll bring it back up. Thank you. Now, having done that, you'll all do that once, then she'll show. Go to do dog pose, dear. So now you'll do dog pose. Turn the heels the other way, right? Aren't we doing it facing the other way, dear? So get the heels above the baseboard. If you have no baseboard, you just want to.
This way, the side way or the wrong way?
No, sideways, just the way you're facing is fine. So if you have no baseboard, just put your heels just above the wall till the ball mounts are completely down. Get the whole ball mount down. Now we're going to do a quick mini vinyasa. Walk your hands out a little bit further. You got to give yourself room. So the first step is basically lunge position. So you inhale all the way between the hands, right leg, all the way. And you make sure you get down and you keep your back knee up and the heel of the back leg into the wall. All right, first time like this. Exhale, you step back. Then you inhale and exhale, you pause, refuel, you step forward again. You challenge the other side. Notice how good a job she's doing at getting that front shin vertical and dropping the hip down. We'll give more details as we go. The back leg heel has to slightly turn outwards. It stays parallel to the front foot. That'll square the hips. And you see that? You'll see it better on the other side. All right, then exhale, she goes back. And you breathe. And everybody, repeat to yourself. Yogis don't panic, yogis don't crumble. Everybody. Yogis don't panic, yogis don't crumble. Don't give up on yourself. All right, she goes again. Right leg goes forward. She pauses. Don't blow by the posture. Fix the back knee. Now, right hand to your knee. Pause. Get everything else set. Left hand to your knee. Pause. Get everything set. Push yourself back. Re-energize the whole pose. Start squeezing the front leg buttock toward the tailbone and rolling the front leg knee out to the right. Square your chest toward the inner knee. And now exhale, down you go. Stretch back. Second side, inhale, exhale, come on forward. Big breath, big step, pause, wait, breathe. There's nowhere to go. Enjoy every single movement. Each one complete. Once you're clear that the legs are working, left hand to the knee, pause, focus your gaze, get your drishti going. Right hand to the knee, pause, focus your gaze. Stack your shoulders over your hips. It's more than you think. The more the head comes back slightly, the more the back knee likes to buckle. So you got to challenge it. Who's going to win? The bent knee or the extension from the groin? So you can see it here. Left hip socket, swing to the tailbone. Right hip socket, slightly turned down without losing the extension. All right, exhale, down you go. And now you put it all together. Take a breath. Power the movement with breath. Big step, inhale, right leg forward. Pause. Now do it a little faster. Hand to the knee. Hand to the knee. Step up. Back leg work. Now the legs do the work. Square your chest. Hands at your side. Turn the palms upward, outward. Urdhva Hastasana. Take the arms up. Breathe as you go. Drop the shoulders, but stretch the arms. Now, drop that head into the space you've created up to now. All the way back. Let it go. There we go. Give your throat chakra. Sacrifice your throat chakra. Good. Exhale. Down you go. Back you go. Hold the applause till the end. Big step with the left leg. Come on, finish it. Put a period to the end of the sentence. Now's the time when you go great. Go great. When you're starting to get tired, that's when you put it out. Endurance is below will. Endurance is below will. Arms further back in space. Wrists further back in space. Now, drop your head, pulling the shoulders down. Lift that front chest. Keep squaring the pelvis. Front knee turn outward. All right, exhale, down you go. Use your breath. Step back to dog pose. Take a cleansing breath when you're there. And then slowly come into child's pose. Give her a rip-roaring round of applause. Did you break a sweat? Did you break a sweat?
Laura.
Did you, thank you. Did you put the air conditioner on? All right.
Yes, I did.
Very good. All right, let's go. No fun in watching other people. Come on. Like being in Jamaica. No what, no fun, man. No what, no fun. Your turn.
Do we start standing?
You start standing, exactly. Good memory. Whoever said that was nice. Everybody else was like, Simon says. All right, so bring your legs together on the midline. Hands by your hips. So the first thing we said was, before you even refine anything, observe. What did it feel like when you're on the floor and you had the back body giving you feedback? Did you learn about how one side worked differently than the other? But now you don't have the feedback. So what are you doing now to bring whatever awareness you think you got, right? What was the lesson that you learned? I didn't do that just so I could hear myself talking. Now, do whatever you think brings you into greater symmetry. And now, squeeze your outer hip sockets in toward the midline. Outer knee squeeze to inner knee. Outer ankle to inner ankle. Spread the toes wide and elongate the foot both forward and back. With your hands facing, palms face into your body, pull them down so the shoulders relax. And it's as if you're going to pull them back behind you, but start to initiate that action, but don't let it happen. And you'll feel the latissimus dorsi muscles lifting you up in the front and narrow in the back. So it becomes wide, apex of the triangle, narrow in the front, and a funnel, narrow in the back. All right. So now, spin the palms to the outside. Inhale, raise the arms up over your head. Get them directly centered over the shoulder socket. Fingers are together, thumb is stretched away, called spread palm position. Notice the discrepancy in the hands. Which one is turned one way, which one is turned the other way. Which fingers are extended, which one are crooked. Which one is closer to the midline, which one is further away. And then looking straight ahead, drop the shoulders down, but extend the arm up, especially where the elbow comes together, right? Because if the shoulders are going down, your initial feeling is that the humerus head will go down. But I'm saying stretch the arm up. So if you stretch the elbow more, the humerus will go down and then you can drop the shoulder socket down more. Now, keeping that, don't destroy anything. Drop your head all the way back. Pull the shoulders down even more. Trapezius muscles, rhomboids, in toward the midline to protect the head. Sternum up in the front. See how much you can give your throat to the ceiling. Open up your fifth chakra. All right, inhale, come on up. Exhale, arms out to the side, turn the palms back in. Breathe in, breathe out. Notice what you did. So that's your prep, all right? You saw our yogic Vanna do her thing, so let's go. She's luckier than you because she can do it again. You're only going to do it once. Oh, I'm not kidding. Excuse me, if you were members of the Chicago CSO, would we just say, oh, we practiced once? Okay, good, time off, you have the afternoon. No, we're going to say, hey, from verse 28, that sucked. You weren't playing together as a collaboration. Stop playing for yourself. Play with the other people. Let's do it again from the top. Yeah, okay. That's called Tadasana yoga. All right, do your dog pose. Get your heels just above the baseboard and walk your front body forward. Create a very, very sharp triangular apex. I know a lot of you have heard the cue, lift your buttock bone, but what I want you to do is lift the top of your thigh. Make the highest point of your pyramid right just below the pelvic rim in the front of the pelvis, right there. And then the buttock comes along with it. Good. Now, make sure the ball mount of your foot is completely on the floor, arch suspended in space, heel up. So that means the back of the ball mount, not closer to the toes, but closer to the top arch. Make sure that's grounded. Now, find the plumb line. Are your legs together or are they apart? Bring your legs together. Bring your legs together. It's Tadasana. What do you know about Tadasana? Are your legs doing Tadasana? How's that reflecting differently now? All right, don't forget, use your breath. Keep right on going the smooth flow. Maureen O'Hara, you have to walk your arms further forward. Maureen Meyer, tilt your camera, I can't see you. All right, big step. Maria, I can't see you either. Big step forward, right leg. Beth, I can't see you either. Sarah, I can't see you either. Stay there. Check to see that the front shin is vertical, knee over the ankle. Pause right there. Now drill your back leg into the wall more. Lift it up. It's just like Supta Pada, but now it's more weight bearing. Start to squeeze your hips together. That's Tadasana, isn't it? You said squeeze the outer thighs in. How does that levelize your pelvis? Now look up, don't look down. Look up so your collarbones widen and breathe. All right, with your next exhale, step back to the wall and breathe. Right leg inhale, left leg inhale, big step forward. Immediately compare one to the other. Are you going far enough forward that not only is your shin vertical, but your left hip socket is down so that the line from your knee to your hip on the outside and your knee to the groin on the inside is parallel. That means the top and bottom of your left thigh should be parallel to the floor. Come on, drop that hip cam. Go further if you can, Maura. Now, drill the back leg into the wall. Notice the difference in the feeling. Is it stronger? Is it weaker? Is the heel still slightly turned to the outside so that the 2 feet are really still parallel? All right, exhale, go back, keep breathing. Whoever's whining, stop that right now. I have an inner censor. If there's a whiny little bitch out there, I'm right on your case. Hey, stop that, you Marines, you. All right, right leg, big step forward. Start off where you left off, right? Start where you left off. Get the legs active. Focus your gaze. Now the legs got to do more work. One hand at a time. Inhale, right hand on knee. Get your balance. Wait there. Breathe. One hand at a time. Left hand on the knee. Get your balance. Breathe. Stack your shoulders over your hips, dropping them. Pause. Back leg, did it lose it? Squeeze the hips together. The tendency is for the front hip to roll forward and the back hip to roll back. Do the exact opposite. Pull the front hip back. Roll the back hip forward. Drill the back knee straight. Square the chest toward the front knee. Square the torso toward the front knee. That was better, Shannon. All right, exhale, down you go. Step back. Second side, second time. Inhale, big step forward. Take a breath. Focus your gaze. Open up. Remember, death says play it safe. Life says take a risk. Open up the stance. To the best of your ability. At least get the knee over the ankle to protect the joint. Now, back leg stays firm. Left hand on your knee. Pause right there. Take a breath. Don't jump ahead. Wait there. Keep dropping that left hip. Right hand on the knee. Stop there. Drop the hip. It tends to come up. As you stack your shoulders back over your hips, notice how your leg wants to give way. Don't let it happen. Keep acting as if the inner left knee is spinning to the left more. And the whole trunk and outer right hip turns towards the inner left knee. Now, hands at your side. Focus your gaze. Oh, this is the second side, right? All right, exhale, down you go. Go back. I spaced out. Must be my meds. Use your breath. Molly, take your hands further forward. Greg, I can't see you. All right. Now, get ready for the arms and the head. Visualize what you're going to do. Big step, right leg, inhale. Set it up a little quicker now. Hand to the knee. Pause. Other hand to the knee. Pause. Stack your shoulders. Pause. Stack the hips. Pause. Square the chest. Now, arms to the side. Palms face in. Spin the palms to the outside. Urdhva Hastasana. Inhale. Bring the arms up. Wait there. Keep the legs active. Now, pull the shoulders down. Stretch the elbows up. Exhale. Drop your head all the way back and surrender your throat. How close can you get the back of your skull toward your shoulder blades? And breathe. Oh, I'm making it too easy for you, huh? All right, bring your head back. Press the palms together, Urdhva Namaskar. If you can't press the palms together well, cross your thumbs and press the palms together. Now, in that hand configuration, drop the shoulders, raise the elbows, drop the head again. That's it. Challenge level goes up. Hands are over your head now, Laura. Urdhva Namaskar. All right, exhale, bring your head back, bring your arms back. Slowly come to the floor, breathe, go back. So notice how Urdhva Hastasana is easier to do than Urdhva Namaskar, I think. Why? I'm going to ask you that question when you get there. Anatomically, there's a difference, obviously, but I want you to observe why. Other side, inhale, big step forward. Pause. Now a little quicker with your breath. One hand to the knee, other hand to the knee. Stack your shoulders. Re-energize the back leg. Do what you know how to do. Front knee turn out, hips square. Chest and trunk square to the midline. Where's the Brahma Sutra? Where's the Brahma Sutra? Where's the plumb line? That back knee is buckling. Cam. All right, hands at your side. Turn the palms up. Spin them all the way up. Go right into Urdhva Namaskar. Right into Urdhva Namaskar. Crisscross the thumbs if you have to. Good. Now, Drop the shoulders, stretch the elbows, pull the head back. Shoulder blades all the way down. Now notice what's going on in your collarbones and outer shoulders in Urdhva Namaskar. Now, without changing your head position, separate your hands to make them parallel to one another. Re-energize shoulders down, elbows up. What happened? Did the collarbone area widen or did the collarbone area get narrow? Somebody. Right? It got wider when your hands got apart, right? So that's the game. How can I keep them as wide as they were in Urdhva Hastasana when I bring them into Urdhva Namaskar? That's why one precedes the other. All right, exhale, go back. Down you go, dog pose. Very nice. Take a breath. And then relax in child's pose. And give Laura a hand again. She loves the applause. Soak that in, Laura.
All right. Thank you.
All right, come on up. Moment of fireside chat, a little Dharma chat, message from the master. One of his famous statements that I've ripped off for years is, you can fool the masses with theory. I'm interested in practice alone. And once I understood that there were categories of poses, and once he made this particular comment, which we have this on recording, you don't have to stop and write it down. He said, if you understand Tadasana, you understand everything about the system. If you understand triangle pose, Trikonasana, you understand everything about standing poses. And then he went on to name the different categories of poses. Janu Sirsasana for the forward bends, Urdhva Dhanurasana for the back bends, Shirsasana for the inversions, Bharadvajasana for the twists, Bakasana for the arm balances. When I teach intro and level 1, 2, and then even further down, I always make sure we do at least one or more of the poses that are the lead pose for that category, because so much can be learned, since unfortunately, this is daddy's house, where sometimes daddy's house has to disappoint you. There's a lot of things that your guru doesn't figure out for you. It's a path of personal responsibility. They initiate you into something, and then it's up to you to see how far you want to take it. And if you are a Tivra Samvegan, and this particular Yoga Sutra shloka precedes the discussion about the other types of students who are dull, average, moderate, and keen. But if you're Tivra Samvega, they're saying that intensity of your own commitment crushes the float time, the gap between when you practice and when the benefits accrue. Because if you're lukewarm, we're not judging you at all. They're just telling you, if you do this, you get that. You get good at what you practice. And if you don't put in the time. So we've done Tadasana. We did Dandasana. Dandasana is the Tadasana on the floor. We're going to do triangle pose. I'm going to show you something about the way the feet work in triangle pose, that for those who have ears, let them hear. This is gold. I'm giving you out of the vault of gold. Or as my teacher would say, I have given you the clue. I have given you the clue. Now it's up to you to take the ball and run with it. So for instance, what I'm going to show you with Laura as the model, I not only, and I'll show you, not only should you do it in triangle pose, but once you get the clue, you can do it in every single standing pose, which as the standing level poses get more challenging, you say, you're freaking kidding me. No, I am not. This is how you learn to apply in what we call sibling asanas, the same understanding. And if it's not the same rotation, it's the same energetic movement in poses that are totally unrelated. So I hope this is going to be a big light bulb for you, because remember, every class needs to do learning and growing. Learning means to hearing something I never heard before. I know something I never knew before. And growing is I did something I never did before. Every class should be power-packed in those ways. New phraseologies, new thinking patterns, increase your yana, your knowing, and then your karma, your action, something that keeps you fresh and innovative. All right, so watch Laura do this. Let's set up for triangle pose. So she's going to go to her right. step or jump apart, whatever. And the first thing you want to do is make sure that you open up your legs wider. Don't be so mousy. Remember, death says play it safe, life says take a risk. That's the first thing they do in India. They open up your stance, and already it discombobulates your whole practice because you were practicing smaller. So already it's revolutionary, and all they did is say, can you go a little wider? So it's risky psychologically, right? So now, before she turns her feet out, she's going to work her legs. She's going to squeeze those hip sockets in and push to the outer ankles. You always stretch from a place to a place. Stretching from the inner shoulder blades, stretch to the fingertips. So she really widens and broadens. Are we going to teach the dunce cap today, or the starfish or whatever?
Starfish. No dunce caps here.
Yeah, starfish is mommy's house, dunce cap is daddy's house, okay? You have to get tough sometimes with students. Okay. All right, so now first thing she's going to do is she's going to show you the energetic action I want you to have. And I'm telling you, this is all standing poses. She's going to lift the ball mount of her front foot, and then she's going to extend from her heel toward the sole of her foot, right? Lift it up again. She's going to broaden the foot, really make the sole active, and then she presses from the heel to the sole till she really gets way to the front of the heel, but the energy is moving a magnetic current from the front to the front heel to the front sole. Got it? On her back foot, she lifts her heel. She broadens the toes, and she pulls the whole foot back from the sole to the heel and grounds it down. Can you see that? So you'll hear me say it more quickly, or just saying front, heel to sole, back, sole to heel. Got it? Okay, relax your hands on your hips for a second, dear. So that's the base, right? Go back, same legs. But keep your hands on your hips so you don't get tired. Now, once you understand that, prior to that, we're going to set you up, front heel to back arch align. If you really tighten the hips, heel to heel, but front heel to back arch, for most of you will be fine. Now, that's the proper alignment. That's the midline from the front heel to the arch if you're drawing a line. Now, you have to rotate your legs in place. Come back to Tadasana for a second. Join the legs together. She's going to bend down and touch her ankle, her foot between the two ankles. Go ahead, exhale, bend down. And she's going to skim straight up the middle of the leg so that she goes and bisects the middle of the shin, the middle of the kneecap, the middle of the thigh, and stop all the way at the top center of her quadricep, just beneath the pelvic rim, higher than many of you might think. All right? You have plumbed the plumb line? Yes? All right. So now she goes back and sets up right foot out, left foot in. So she has the midline, the Brahma Sutra there. And now on her right leg, she's going to turn the right leg inside out, rolling that whole skin so that it moves and she centers the leg. If she overstretches, she'll be flopping too much on the outer ankle. If she understretches, her arch will be collapsed. So she has to roll the thigh, the knee, the calf in such a way that the foot stays pushing from heel to sole while maintaining the Tadasana alignment on the front leg. Now, what she has created, she's not going to destroy when she turns her awareness to the back leg, which again is the brain of the pose. And she's going to do the same thing on the back leg. She's going to rotate the inner leg up and out, thigh, knee, calf, ankle, dome that arch. See how she's doing? And then in the same way, she's going to find its center line so that that foot, kneecap, and top quad are all aligned, right? Then she squares her body to the front, opens up the arms, and then one last time, keeping the alignment, lift the front foot, stretch it from heel to sole, lift the back heel, stretch it from sole to heel, and maintaining those energetic movements. She exhales and goes over into the pose. Hold something with the right hand, stretches up to the ceiling with the left hand, and then we'll hold you here for millennia and give you instruction while you're here. Then inhale, come on up out of the pose, and that's it. So we won't make it do it again. Let's not lose time. All right? Let's do it. Come on, everybody. Stand in Tadasana first. Join the legs together on the midline. If bending forward like that will help you, fine. If you can just use your visual intelligence, fine. Find that center line, the median line of each leg. And is it parallel to the median line of the center of your trunk? Squeeze those thighs in. Take the inner thigh back. Move the back of the back waistline back and down. Stretch the arms down to release the shoulders. And remember, activate as if your hands are pulling behind you, but they're not actually going behind you, but it's as if you intend to do that. So you activate the lats. Chest up in the front, shoulders down in the back, neutral neck. Right, so remember this feeling. When the legs are separate, you're still doing Tadasana, even though the legs are apart in Trikonasana. Is there anybody who doesn't understand how I'm using that analogy? All right, so now step onto your mat. Open up your legs. Check that the heel of the front leg and the arch of the back foot are aligned. All right, start by stretching your arms up. Now, while you're holding, raise your hands above your shoulders. That's too high. Take your hands lower than your shoulders. Lower than your shoulders. That's too low. In line with your shoulders. Not higher, not lower. Now, remember I said stretch from and to. Holding this line from the inner shoulder blade. From there, stretch to the fingertips. Cross connect your right thumb to your left pinky and your left pinky to your right thumb. Cross connect your right pinky to your left thumb and your left thumb to your right pinky. All right. Now, relax your hands for a second. All right? Put your hands to your hips. Looking at your front foot. Lift the ball mount of the foot completely off the floor, pivot on the heel, and then pressing from heel to sole, stretch down, widening and elongating, and feel that action. Do it again. Lift the foot. When you press down, shift the weight toward the front of the heel and then stretch the toes forward from that. So that's what I mean by heel to sole. Maintain that. Look at your back leg. Lift your heel. Splay the toes wide, and then pulling the heel away from the toes, ground it to the outer edge. That's what I call sole to heel. Do it again. Lift the heel, splay the toes, broaden, completely extend to the outer edge, ground it down. Maintain that awareness. Now, turn your attention back to your front leg. Molly, we're going to the right leg forward, so change it, position. Thank you, dear. All right, now, do Tadasana on the right leg. Use your hands if you need to roll it around. Maybe you don't have power steering, you got to use manual. And center the top of your quad, the middle of your knee, and the space between the ankles, just like you did in Tadasana, except now your legs are asymmetrical. Hold it there. Continue to stretch, heel to sole. Now, turn your gaze to the back leg. Rotate it up and out, but maintain the Tadasana quality. Don't over-rotate. Inner thigh up, inner knee up, inner calf up. Dome the arch and find your Tadasana. Everybody got it? All right, arms up, fingers together. Stretch across the chest. Using your breath, inhale, exhale, shift your hips to the left, trunk to the right, over you go. No block. Hold something. Hand on the shin, hand on the ankle, hand on the floor, whatever, and stretch up. Now, did you lose heel to sole and sole to heel? If you did, re-energize. Now, the top arm is not an appendage. The top arm should pull so hard, it starts to lift your trunk off the floor. Come on, pull so, yeah, but resist with your bottom arm at the same time. Now, in fact, hold something with the bottom arm. Grab the ankle, the calf, whatever. And now, keeping your elbow straight, try to pull that arm up off the leg, but don't let yourself do it. And re-extend the top arm, opposite arm, tremendous. Now, look up, it's a look-up pose. Turn the bottom neck, lift the neck. Very good. 10 seconds. Breathe into your pelvis. Breathe into your stomach. Breathe into your chest. Breathe into your face. Remembering to do heel to sole and sole to heel. Use your arms. Inhale. Come to the ceiling. Exhale your breath. Put your hands to your hips. Turn your feet parallel. Wait there and breathe. That's enough. Take your arms up. Once again, immediately, not high, not low. Find the place in line. Now, take your hands behind your chest. Too wide. Take your hands in front of your chest. Too narrow. Where's the place where they're not in front, not in back, not above, not below? Do a better job at recognizing where that is. Shoulders down. Stretch from the inner shoulder blade to the fingertips. Find your diagonal connection. Now keep your arms going this time. Now turn left leg out, right leg in. Keep your arms going. Don't turn your chest. Keep your chest in Tadasana. Now from here, don't look. Do it by feel. Lift the front foot, ball mount, and stretch it down, heel to sole. Do it 2 or 3 times till you really get the energetic feeling. That's called the rasa, the magnetic current of energy in every asana. Keep that weight there. Now on the back leg, lift the heel, broaden the toes, pull sole to heel. Do it 1 or 2 times. Maintain. Now without looking at your legs, center both legs in Tadasana, which means a slight external rotation, but don't over-rotate, don't under-rotate. Purge your mind of the old, no matter how many times you've done Trikonasana, as if this is the first time. Find something new. Inhale, exhale, shift your hips to the right, trunk to the left, over you go. Be open. Maybe today something new can come. So once you're there, start breathing. Don't hold your breath. Did you lose heel to sole, sole to heel? If you did, re-energize. Now, grab something with the bottom arm and try to pull up against it so the elbow stays straight and the bottom ribs lift. Then re-extend that top arm. Try to pull your top ribs off the floor and elongate them at the same time. If you go further to the floor with your bottom arm, re-grab and pull up again and elongate. Now take a few breaths with your head turning up in the pelvis. Notice if the breath is there. Can you make it reach there? In the abdominal area, notice if the breath can reach there. In the thoracic area, all the way to your collarbones, notice if the breath reaches there. And then finally in your neck, throat, face, cranium, does it reach there? Activating your leg, heel to sole, sole to heel, stretching the arms deeply. Inhale, come on up, press your legs. Exhale, turn to the front. Down you go. All right, watch Laura. We didn't do this, but you can do it. Legs wide apart, now wider than that. Prasarita Padottanasana. Hands to your hips. Elongate the body, keeping your chest parallel to the floor. Elbows back, lead with your chin. Exhale, go. No, forward, dear. Forward bend. Stop right there. Elbows go back. Chin up, pull the collarbones forward. Right, now take your fingertips to the floor. I don't want you to use blocks today. And here's the idea. She's more flexible, but watch what happens to the height of her spine. Drop your palms to the floor. See how the whole height of her spine dropped down? That's how you know you've gone too far. What's the height of the spine you can maintain here in your fingertips? As soon as you take your legs too wide, you can't maintain that height and you'll feel wobbly in your inner leg. So find out how far you can go, pushing your hip to your heel, like making the inner leg slippery, but your arms are here. Then I'm going to say, from here, turn your fingers to the outside and see how that externally rotates your shoulders. But keep the lift in the chest. Then I'm going to say, turn your fingers all the way around to the front and pull your collarbones forward and widen your collarbones again. Look up with your chin, like that. And then you'll come down on the floor and do Bharadvajasana twist. All right, come on. We're finishing up. Prasarita Padottanasana. Everybody on your mat, wide legs. It's a wider stance than Trikonasana. Hands to your hips. Push to the outer heel. Long, slippery inner leg. Lead with your chin, elbows back. Exhale, make a forward bend. Stop halfway to the floor. Chin up. Keep your front body high off the floor. Look up. Drop your hands below the shoulders, wrists directly underneath. Perch up. Squeeze the hip sockets, but widen the buttock bones. Look up. Keep breathing. So the fingernails are facing straight ahead. You're kind of perched on all fingers. Don't overdrop your lumbar, those of you who are hyperflexible there. Maureen Mayer, you have to lean forward slightly, forward with right there, so the hips are in line with the outer ankle. All right, now, turn your fingers to the outside. So your middle fingers face 3 and 9 o'clock. Widen the collarbones more. Yes, keep pulling your shoulder blades down off your neck, but pull your rib cage forward. Make yourself like a rocking horse. The chin is up in the front, the buttock is up in the back. Good for your shoulders and neck. Turn your fingers completely back to yourself. Feel that change in the wrists. Still perch up, widen the collarbones again. Now, women, check your carrying angle, right? If it's collapsed to the inside, you have to pull the inner elbows apart so that the outer doesn't crash in, and make them parallel. And still lift up with your chin, lift up with the buttock, squeeze the hip sockets, push to the outer ankles. All right, that's good. Hands to your hips, lead with your chin, push to the legs. Inhale, come on up. Exhale out, you go. Legs out in front of you. Listen, we're already at 12:30. Can we stay another 10 minutes? Is that cool? If you can't, lie down in Shavasana. If you can, sit in Tadasana, everybody. Just follow along with Laura. Start with your feet facing forward and just lubricate your hips by first shifting your body weight to one side and bringing your legs to the other side. When you go ahead, shift to one side, Laura. Notice that the leg on top has the bottom shin over the arch of the other leg. Right? Flip your legs back to Dandasana. And then again to the other side. And just notice the facility with which your hips can lift and the lubrication. The bottom leg is in a kind of external rotation. The top leg is a slight internal rotation. Notice that. Do it again. But this time, stop in Dandasana and notice how parallel the knees are. Now, shift your hips again. But this time, make the knees more parallel than they were before, while you also keep the shin of the bottom of the top leg over the arch of the bottom foot and the toes of the top foot facing straight back as if it's in Virasana, because it is. It's like a art of Virasana. Notice how slanted your pelvis might be toward one side. All right, stretch back in Dandasana. Inhale, exhale. Lift that buttock flesh first. Then shift to the other side. Notice the difference. Do your best to make the knees more like Dandasana. So from the thigh to the kneecap, it's still like Tadasana. Remember Bharadvajasana I said is the twisting category pose. Shin of the top leg over the arch of the bottom foot, foot facing straight back like Ardha Virasana. Check that out. And then one more time, go back to the first side. And now if you're terribly slanted and it feels uncomfortable, put a height like a block or a blanket underneath you and levelize your pelvis. But even in light on yoga, he comes way off that hip. He's obviously doing it in an asymmetrical way. But for some people, it doesn't feel so good on the lumbar. So you can levelize your hips. And just remember, twisting doesn't mean tilting. So now, Laura, I got to pin you for a second because I've lost your name here. Okay, so Laura has her hips to her right. So she's going to arc her right arm behind her in line with her right hip, over your head and around, dear. No, onto the floor behind you. There we go, just like that, onto the floor behind you. No, to your right side, dear. Go behind you. That's it. And stretches her left arm up in the air, twisting is lifting. And if she can cut her left wrist to the outside of her left knee, she hooks it in there. And she braces that as a way to twist. Keep your head up, dear. Chin up, always. Good. So remember, when most people twist, and she's going to show you from the side view now. They poke the ribs out on the side they twist to. So collapse and poke to the, yeah. That's the collapse. Now poke it out to the right. That's forward. There you go. See, now she's tilted. So bring your spine back in. Can you twist the spinal muscles but not tilt? Not tilt. So the back arm has to help. See how she's doing a much better job in the parallel quality? If you can't hook your hand there, turn your hand over the knee, palm down, and bend your elbow to get more leverage. Now she's tilting again. So pull it back toward the top left thigh. Pull everything back as you bend. No, your hand was fine. And lean back more to your top left thigh. So she tilt the spine less and twist more vertically. There you go. Now turn your head over the front shoulder. Finish like that. Everybody got it? Chin up though. Lengthen the side of your neck. Good. Collar's nice and wide. All right, exhale, go back to Dandasana. Good job. Let's see, stay here and go to the other side, then we'll see it from the other angle. All right, inhale, exhale. Switch legs. Thank you. Yeah, no, the other way. It's a good thing you only have two sides, right?
Sorry.
So from where your left arm is, right? Arc it in front of you all the way up over your head and behind you. Yes, there you go. And then brace up on it so you don't tilt. Sometimes we say put a block there. Come on, you guys should be doing this now.
Oh, you didn't tell us.
Catch up. All right, so as you twist, don't make such a gross twist that you tilt your spine. So if that means you have to use your back arm to help keep you vertical, number one, and you lean your spine more towards the outside edge of the Virasana leg, the top leg, okay? Ground it down there. Sometimes I say, take for a second, Laura, take your hand to your outer top right thigh and press it down. Top, outer, top thigh. Right there, down, right? Because that's the same part that doesn't let you go down in Virasana. Ground it down. And now, when you release your hand, don't let that come with it, right? So now, take it up, exhale, cut it to the outside, turn your chest, and remember, twist, don't tilt. So think of the spinous processes, right? Those two side little projections, right? It's like a parallel ladder. Let them stretch up vertically, right? But don't let your spine lean in the direction of the twist. So twist there is, tilt there is not. And then turn your head over the front shoulder. So the idea is to square your chest so much that the front shoulder is in line with your knees, which are like in Tadasana. The back shoulder turns so much it's in line with your gluteal crease. Find your plumber's butt. Right? And turn your chest so that eventually, you see how her outer left knee and outer left hip are in one straight line facing the camera? Well, eventually her trunk would be facing the same way, as if there was no restriction in the joints, turning everything. So the four corners of the chest would be like a rectangle facing that way. Chest up in the front, shoulders down in the back. All right, exhale, down you go. If you guys didn't do the second side, do the second side quickly. And Laura's, meanwhile, is going to set up her blankets for Viparita Karani. Legs up the wall. Inverted leg. So twist yourself on the other side. Twisting is nice, neutral gear. And you notice it really works the neck, the chest, the low back, the pelvis. So that's what you want in all your twists from stem to stern. Now, for those of you still doing the twist, while you're twisting, think of what you learned in Tadasana. What did you learn about how one part of the back of your body differs than another? And so how would you move it in this pose to make it what, broader or closer to the midline? And so forth. All right, come on out. Get what you need, a blanket, a couple of blankets, bolsters. I think we did a couple of blocks. So watch how she puts two blocks side by side, flat, to create a little perch for herself. Now side by side, fold them into each other. So they're on their second height, side by side. Yeah, and now turn it flat to the wall. There you go. Let everybody get a peek of that. So if you have two blocks, this is like a mini bolster, you see? Flat like that. Good. Then you got to just climb up the wall, scooch in to the best of your ability. Use your legs to help you, hands to help you. So drop down first, get your legs to the wall. And then bridge up and scooch in. Feet on the wall. Yeah. So feet to the wall will help get you lift too. There you go. And then shimmy in. That's good. Get your butt as close to the wall as you can so you can drop your tailbone down. And then stretch your legs up and bring them together in Tadasana. Exactly. With your hands, press your thighs deep to the wall. Thanks everybody for staying the extra time. And then puff your chest, shoulder blades down, shoulder sockets down, shoulder blades up, hands at your side. So because we're running late, we're going to use this as a Shavasana. So here's an interesting thing my teacher taught me. For beginners, it's absolutely essential to do Shavasana. But if you end the class on a restorative pose, like Setu Bandha or Viparita Karani, and by the way, Viparita Karani is the prototype for all the restorative poses. So what you learn here is something that's very, very similar because of how it works on your nervous system in terms of a Shavasana. So here's how I'm going to give you my Shavasana. After you get the alignment details in the pose and set yourself up so your legs are draining, you're immediately going to find what they say the alpha waves, the threshold brain states, brain waves that indicate you're moving away from waking consciousness into what they call liminal consciousness, where the dream images usually arise from. And this is the same place we can say there's a shallows to it, and then there's a depth to it. And when you start to get to the depths of the liminal state in the alpha state, then you start getting some images that come from what is phrased the collective unconscious, that there's something that's not just personal about the treasure trove of images that arise, but there's a human imprinting that can come up, which is why we tell stories and fairy tales and mythologies, and even all fictional literature provides access. All inversions quiet the brain, minimize facial tension. When the brain is freed from the impositions of the conditioned nervous system, it can't go wrong. This is one of the best positions to rest the sacrum and lumbar because of the flooding of blood in the pelvic area, all acidity and needs for quieting the hypogastric system. So you can feel how your pulse rate goes down, your blood pressure goes down. There's no abdominal load right now. The extra blood then cascades over the rib cage. The Niagara Falls of the chest pools it in your throat chakra. So the glands in your neck and head get flushed with fresh oxygen. The spine is free from the drag of the G-force. So gravitational drag has no effect on impingement, but quite the contrary, spaciousness happens. Now, as the body drains, the vayus, or the movements of the air currents, because different hidden energies that are in the air currents, and there are 5 main ones, they say. There's an apana vayu, where movement, because air is characterized by movement or stillness, there's movement in the lower pelvic area. That's called apana vayu. And then there's movement in the stomach digestive area. That's called samana vayu. And there's movement in the thoracic area, prana vayu. And there's movement in the throat area, Vayana Vayu, Udana Vayu. And then there's movement that connects electromagnetically the aura, the circumvent field around you with the interstitial movement at the cellular level. They both have a kind of electromagnetic buzz that connects them. So with each exhale, just go with my direction and release the apana vayu into the samana vayu. Pelvis to stomach. Then with the next exhale, release the samana vayu into the prana vayu. Let the stomach release into the chest. Then with the next exhale, release pranic vayu into udanak vayu. So the thorax releases into the throat. And then release udanak vayu into vayanak vayu. So the face and skull release into the aura and into the cells. Now you take a few breath cycles yourself to release Apana to samana, samana to prana, prana to udana, udana to vayana. As you get ready to come back to your daily life, I always suggest that you fill yourself with something positive. This is a golden opportunity. And here are some beautiful words from one of our Native American spiritual brothers and sisters. O great spirit, whose voice I hear in the winds, and whose breath gives life to all the world, hear me. I am small and weak. I need your strength and wisdom. Let me walk in beauty, and let my eyes ever behold the red and purple sunset. May my hands respect the things you have made, and my ears grow sharp to hear your voice. Make me wise so that I may understand the things you have taught my people. Let me learn the lessons you have hidden in every leaf and rock. I seek strength not to be greater than my brother or sister, but to fight my greatest enemy, myself. Make me always ready to come to you with clean hands and straight eyes. So when life fades as the fading sunset, my spirit may come to you without shame. If you've drifted off and lost conscious contact with your breath, slowly float your awareness back to the inhale and exhale cycles. Every inhale, closer to the surface with zest. Every exhale, maintaining the anchor into your inner peace. Inhale, bend your legs at the knees, feet flat to the wall. Exhale, press the feet, lift the hips, release the block, bolster, blanket, drop your hips down. Gently bend your knees into your chest and stay there for a few breaths. Then roll to the side and take a breath there before you come up. And then when you come back up, just sit silently for a second with your palms together and close your eyes. Okay, so officially namaste. Thank you so much for coming. We're over 20 minutes. I apologize. That is so rude to all of us who are locked down and have so many things to do. But I'm going to stay at least another 5 minutes if anybody doesn't want to go or doesn't have to go, or let's put it more positively, would like to stay and can stay. So if there are any questions or whatever, if not, then hopefully you all know how to get in touch with me. GabrielHalpern.com. Go to my website, subscribe. I think we're going for another class. It'll be a month from now at the end of September. I think that's the next one because I have other commitments. I can't do it again until Wednesday. And then we'll get back on a regular Wednesday schedule. But in the meantime, I invite you all to stay in touch with me by whatever way you can. It's an honor to be able to share this ongoing love we have for yoga. So with that being said, anybody have some questions? Anything in the chat line? I see 3 people here. Welcome, everybody. Sorry to interrupt, just checking out. Okay, so anybody want to type anything in or unmute yourself and share something?
Gabriel, that was the practice I didn't know I needed.
How did you know you needed it? How do you know you need it now?
because my body gave me some very direct feedback.
In a good way, I hope.
Yes, in a very encouraging, forward moving.
So you failed joyfully?
Yes, very joyfully. Big fails.
Very great. So I'm telling you, once you start that heel to soul and soul to heel, with like some of the challenging poses, like the revolving poses, right? Incredible. You'll be able to milk that teaching alone. Okay. Seriously. Now, one of the other ones is, it's easy to do this in triangle pose if you're not used to this, which is when you take your arms out to the side, make that monster stretch that we did, you drop belts as plumb lines from the wrist to the floor, right? And then maintaining that, you open your legs so the heel of one foot and the arch of the back are that far apart. Now, it's wider than you probably just did, and it'll probably be barely okay in triangle pose once you start getting to Bharadvajasana and Warrior Two. But once you start to do the revolve standing poses, you're saying, you're kidding me. You're freaking kidding me. And until you see somebody create such space in their body, you realize, wow, my poses are so narrow. My poses are so narrow. And again, it's a scary thing to think, because most of us, I think, would probably give ourselves credit for, I'm not a closed person. I'm an open person. We're not here to argue whether or not you are or not. But my teacher would say, if there's no freedom in the body, freedom in the mind is a far cry. And that doesn't only mean, can you open your legs wider? But that's what he's showing you, because there's a potential there. But for most of us, it's an untapped potential. And that's why I coined that phrase, fail joyfully. Because once you make the attempt to try to go beyond, and let's face it, a hint of yoga is, I want to go next level. What's next level practice? I want to do something further than I did before. Even though at my age, we say maintenance is progress. As long as I'm not falling below, I don't have to do what I did 50 years ago. I don't saddle myself with that. But one of the ideas is, how do I challenge the frontier? And the moment I do, it gets discombobulated. You got to laugh at yourself for that, but realize, no, there's something here I can tap. So just those two hints, heel to soul, soul to heel, and dropping the wider stance from your wrists will help a lot. So, all right, anyway, that was a nice comment. Thank you much for sharing that.
I'm so sorry my phone died right at the end, but thank you so much for everything.
Thank you.
It was really great practicing with you guys. And thank you, little Vanna White, Laura.
Thank you, everyone. I gotta run. Thank you so much.
You too. Peace.
Thank
If
you,
you
Gabriel. That's great. Thank you.
Yeah, the last one to go is going to be Laura, because we have to debrief.
And if anyone wants to ever email suggestions or feedback, input, we're crafting this as we go. So we're open to your suggestions, and it really helps us to make it valuable for everyone. So thanks to those who share. You're our steering committee to make this enjoyable and useful for everybody. So keep the comments coming.
Especially with the props, because if we're going to do things to modify, we want to make sure that, a sufficient mass of the people who sign up have basic stuff. We don't want to get too involved, but we want basic stuff. So it would be nice to hear from you. What are the props that you have? And then we could key a lot of how we do the presentations more toward what you already have for your home setup. So that way it can kind of help to motivate you more.
Okay. Laura, you did a really great job, especially considering the people you had to work with.
Larry.
And as you know, Larry, it ain't easy working with me. I don't make it easy on the apprentice. Oh no. It's a constant, it's like the Sisyphus. No matter how much you roll that rock up the hill, it's going to fall right down. I'm going to have that look on my face like, and then all I can say is just go into my Marine. Get her done, son. Get her done. Okay. And look, and she comes out smiling. So you see, that's the whole thing. See, that's the turning point. They come in like afraid and they leave smiling, happy as can be, total santosha. Look at the Ananda effervescing going from, even though she knows I'm going to blast her completely for her, but she's totally thrilled. Can you imagine that? Speak to you soon. Muriel, let's have a FaceTime sometime soon.
Yep.
Okay.
Very soon.
But you have the space now, so I don't want to interrupt your space. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Everybody.
Thank you.
Thank
It was a
you.
great practice and I really like the format. I like having the Dharma talk at the beginning and the practice. It was wonderful.
Right. I just have to contain myself in the short Dharma talks.
Yes, that's hard. All right, Mr. Humble. out.
Take care. See you soon.
Thanks.
Hi, thank you.
Keep in touch.
Everybody.
So Adrian and Larry, can you shut down?
Sure, I'm sitting down. I'll see you, Larry, in a couple of minutes. I got to bring that to you.
Okay.
Take care.
Thank you for coming.
Thanks, everybody.
There we go. You were stellar. You were stellar, especially the Warrior One Vinyasa. That was fantastic.
Thanks. I got a little tired at the end of the second round. My legs were shaking. But
Well, listen, in the future, you should be just making those comments like, "Oh, I'm tired. This is killing me," or whatever. Just because that would both bring humor and reality to the whole thing.
okay. Okay.
Um,
So I think we had 18 all together, including.
I didn't see all those people there. Maybe we did. I was now. All right. So now here we are. You recorded the whole thing.
Oh, I should stop recording now. Thanks.